All right, well, this is a video in answer to a question on one of my older videos from Jacqueline. And it was a video about dividing echinodorus, the sword plants. And it was, how do you divide the, can I show you how to divide the bigger sword plants? And can you cut the roots? And I'm assuming you mean cut through they're going to be rhizomes, I think, on echinodorus that connect one plant to the next. And yeah, you can cut those. I don't have any. I thought I had a video of them. What I have is a pot of little cryptocorynes here. Now, in the past, I bought these cryptocorynes in the black plastic pots, and they're loaded. Well, this one's been in this little terracotta pot in one of my fish tanks, and there's a little piece of Java fern. In fact, let me just get rid of that. I'm going to drop that in another tank, because that's what you can do with those. And it'll just float around and keep growing. But yeah, you can divide these, and these are very similar to the echinodorus, by pulling them apart, right? And I assume this one's going to be connected. Should have some water so I could rinse the substrate away. But I am just smacking it there and shaking it out. And there are three here. The echinodorus grows the exact same way with the long, I used to teach horticulture, so the terms we would use would be fibrous roots. So the root system, the analogy I used would be like a mop head with long fibrous roots. Hang on, I'm going to get a little water here. Make this a little easier. There, I've got a little bit of hornwort floating and a little bit of water with alum to get rid of snails. But that'll be all right. So let's get all the substrate off of these. Now we can better see what's going on here. And by the way, if you're wondering, alum is safe. Yes, they use it in cooking, I guess, pickling. So anyway, this is connected to this bigger one. And all I'm going to do is just pull them apart. And they tend to come apart fairly easily. And so do the echinodorus. And now with all this big mass of roots, I'm just pulling all that down and out of the way. And there's all these roots here. And there's a couple ways to go here with these roots. And I saw somebody do it just the other day. You can just sort of wind them all up together and then push that into the substrate in your aquarium or in a pot, and then resubmerge it, okay? And if you need to, you can tear away some of the root or the leaves. Now with terrestrial plants, I would always suggest tearing away some of the leaves to reduce transpiration, which is water loss through the leaves, because you did root damage. But that's really not an issue in a plant that's going to be fully submerged. Transpiration is not going to be an issue. But you can thin the leaves off if you don't. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wad these up. But also, and it won't hurt if you need to, you can just pinch these leaves. You can use a sharp cutting tool. I usually just pinch them and tear them away and shorten the roots a little bit. I said leaves, didn't I? Shorten the roots a little bit. And what that does, it just makes it a little easier to plant. That's all. Here. And then same thing. I'm going to shorten these roots a little bit. And I'm just going to stick all these in the 40-gallon breeder that's right behind us here. That tank, most of the plants, I think, finally just died out in that tank because it was so covered with guppy grass, there's no light getting down to the plants on the substrate. So we'll just plant those. I'll show you how I do that. So anyway, I hope that helps with the division. I know, I unfortunately, I don't have anything bigger, better to show you. I thought I went through my old videos. I thought I had a video on doing that. I will look again, and if I do, I'll put the link in your answer. I'll put the link for this one in the answer to your question, Jacqueline. And I'm also just going to post this one. We'll stick them over in that corner. Well, we got some cories that look like they're dancing. Maybe they'll make little cories. That's always cool. So we'll stick them in that corner there. So I've got 3 of these red cryptocoryne wentii. I love cryptocorynes, by the way. They are one of my favorite plants. They tend to be real easy to grow. There's one floating back here, in fact. Only it's not floating. It's actually rooted into the sponge filter. I'm just going to leave it there. So it was floating for a while, apparently. So what I'm going to do is bunch these roots up a little bit and hope my fish don't attack me. Come on, fish, get out of there. We'll put this one right behind the rock here. Now let's put it up. Now let's put it out here. Once in a while, Bob and Carol, my albino crebensis, get a little testy when I stick my hand in the water. So we'll put one there. I'll put one right beside this big old rock here. This tank's been together now about 2.5 years. A lot of mulm coming up out of the substrate, or sediment, or I don't know. I guess mulm is sediment, isn't it? And we'll put another one here. And hopefully they'll stay there. All right. So that's how simple it is to plant them. Now let me show you a big stand of these crypts that I've got. Well, there's a big echinodorus here too. There's a big echinodorus there. And I don't see any spots to divide that one. Over time it might produce some. Right now it is not. I've got another one in a Talenti ice cream cup out in the tub outside. And I think there's I think that one might be divisible, but I just don't want to divide that one right now. It's blooming outside in the tub. These are the same cryptocoryne wentii, and you can see them how they migrate all across the front of the glass here. They're all the way over here, and it's all runners. So I could reach in there and just start pulling clumps. It's really hard to damage these. If you've got big clumps of any of the clumping aquatic plants, like cryptocoryne, like Sagittarius subulata, like echinodorus, when they do divide for you. And I think echinodorus has been split into another genus. There's the hair grass. It's real easy just to go ahead and divide them. Go, and then replant them. If you can keep some roots on them, divide the runner that separates plant to plant to plant. Just go for it, and you should end up with more and more plants. Another candidate for that is something called jungle valsinaria. I do have some of that in this tank. There's 2 plants of jungle valsinaria. Here's one here, and it goes all the way around the back. There's one back here. This is a little Amazon sword here that's been struggling because of not enough light because of what's going on top of this tank. And there's another jungle valsinaria right here next to this Amazon sword, also struggling, same reason. Another jungle val back there. But if I pull this, okay, this one was rooted all by itself. I'm just going to take this one, throw it in the tank below. Maybe I can just find one down here that's doing its thing across the surface of the water, because they send out runners. There you go. That's jungle valsinaria spreading by runners. Right? There's another plant. There's another plant right there. So there's 3 runners, or 3 plants across these runners. And I'll show you some more jungle val that's really happy that spreads by runner readily. Here, while we're at it, this is another tank in the house. That is all Sagittarius subulata that spreads by runners also that are readily divided. More cryptocoryne down in there. More cryptocoryne here. Now I've divided this. I pulled out about 20 plants out of this corner, just spreading. And all the ones I showed you, there's one way over there that was probably connected, probably still is connected to this one. And backspace to here, I pulled out easily 20 or so that were all interconnected here from one plant that I planted originally. And here we go, more cryptocoryne in the back, but also this is the jungle valsinaria. And you can see the runners, that green runner going across the surface, connecting plant to plant to plant. It hit the corner, it turns the corner. Let me get the fish food out of the way, and it keeps going. Readily pull, just pull one and you can keep pulling. they'll all come up. They're all interconnected, or you can reach in and just snap that runner. And I think in this case, it's a stolon, which is just a modified stem, and snap it off and just pull the one, the single plants that you want out. Or, you could pull out plants in between, just snap the stolons. That'll separate the plants, but it won't hurt the plants. And then you can pull out, every other plant, whatever you want. Here's another little one coming up right in front. So, Valsinaria is one of those plants. In fact, a lot of these kind of plants, the Crypticorium, the Sagittarius subulata, the Valsinaria, these are all plants they're the gifts that just keep on giving. That's a pot full of Crypticorium there. All started out a couple, now it's more and more because they grow and divide. So I hope that helps. And as always, thanks to my members. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for all the subscribers and my members getting me over that 1K mark. And like I always say, thanks for looking.